the Iranians at this point have a huge territorial advantage, and it's geographic. That's all it is, really. If you look at this area right there, now you see all that, it looks like a mountain range up there, right? So they're sitting on a perch, which is really difficult for any enemy of theirs, in this case, what they call the United States Navy, to go in there and not be in a vulnerable position. In fact, I've got a picture of it. Look at these mountains, just so you can see it from a reference point. There's the ships, there's the mountains. Now look at that. See those cliffs? Over the last couple of years, the Iranians have, according to our sources, put silos inside of those mountains from whence the rockets and some of the drones fly out of. And as soon as they fly out of the mountain, it kind of closes up again. So it's almost impossible for the United States or for anybody else to go in there and take those out. So it really has given them, up to now, a huge strategic advantage. Let me tell you about something else that happened yesterday. This is also is important. See that area right there? It's called Jask. In the reports, it's being called Jask Island, but it's not really an island. It's really more of like a little peninsula. That's one of the most important ports. You see, it's outside, but it's not far from the Strait of Hormuz. And that's a very important place because the United States has been trying to go in there and possibly take it. Well, yesterday, there was a report that the Iranians had fired at a U.S. frigate and hit it, or maybe even destroyed it in that area. Turns out that's not true, at least the part about destroying it or even hitting it. What likely is true is that the Iranians are now firing from that mountain range where I told you, using drones, using rockets, using missiles, and trying to hit whatever they can in this area, including that. And there's this Reuters report that I think kind of characterizes this maybe the best way, because a lot of people are saying the Iranians didn't do anything. Others are saying, well, no, the Iranians sunk the ship. This is probably the best perspective. Iran is using their geographic advantage to prevent U.S. warships from entering the Strait of Hormuz. And that's what we think actually took place yesterday in Jask Island, or Jask Port, or Jask Peninsula, that kind of changed the game a little bit. And then, of course, you know, if we're wondering whether this thing is back to being a real war, it is. And the proof came last night when the Iranians started firing missiles into UAE. As a matter of fact, they fired at least one right here in the area of Dubai. That one was apparently intercepted by the missile defense system that they use here. But another one was not. This is important. Remember I told you earlier about Fujairah? That's that oil field that's right there. That's a very important oil field. Apparently, let me look at my notes, 100 million barrels is kept there. And apparently the Iranians hit it, and it really begs the question then, right? Because we were told all along that something like this couldn't happen because the missile defense system that the United States has installed in the UAE would prevent it from happening. And we understood at the beginning of the war, when Iran was just peppering this region right here with lots and lots of missiles and drones, that some of them would get through. But last night, as far as we can tell, the Iranians only shot 3 or 4, and one of them got through and hit the very place they really wanted to hit. So what does that tell us? I guess maybe the question is, what should we be asking about the missile defense system, the THAAD missile defense system, Patriot missile defense system, and why it isn't working as well as promised, so to speak. Now, so what's the result of all of this? First of all, the war looks to be back on, all right, obviously, because both sides are now firing or threatening to fire. But the second thing, which is really important, is the economic impact this is going to have on the world. I mean, countries all over the world now who are starting to get an inkling of flow, right? Outflow. That's a little bit more of the potassium, of the fertilizer, of the LNG, of the oil that was getting out into the world that is so needed, was starting to get out. Now, it's dead. Let me show you a picture. I've got another map that we found that we want to show you. There are actually websites that tell you where the ships actually are at any given time. And this is what the Strait of Hormuz looks like right now. Look at that. You don't see any red dots, which means there are no ships there. That means there's no inflow. There's no outflow. There's no ships traveling in and out of this area. Look at this. Look at this area. I mean, remember that area we had from here all the way to there? I mean, there's nothing getting in and there's nothing getting out. And that means this thing is blocked up again, or all over again, as we say. And it looks like the war is also back on. All those things happen just within the past 24 hours. When we come back, let's talk about the effect this is having in other parts of the world, particularly the politics of Europe. Germany is one of the places we're looking at this time, just to see how the people there are reacting to the fact that they're not getting the energy that they've always wanted, but that they used to have in the past, and they're asking serious questions of their leadership. That's when we come back. Stay right there.